The ASEAN Crypto Dream refers to the vision of integrating and also advancing cryptocurrency and blockchain technology within the ASEAN region. And this initiative aims to leverage the potential of digital assets to drive economic growth, innovation, and also financial inclusion across member countries. Recently, Malaysia's Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim discussed the development of cryptocurrencies with former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra as part of the ASEAN 2025 agenda. And this conversation highlights the region's growing interest in digital currencies and blockchain technology. And overall, the ASEAN Crypto Dream envisions a future where blockchain, technology and also digital assets contribute to the region's economic development and also technological advancements. And to discuss further, joining me at this time is Aaron Tang, which is the APAC General Manager of Luno. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron. Good morning. First of all, ASEAN has discussed the idea of a unified digital currency to enhance cross-border trade and also financial integration. In your opinion, how realistic is the idea of ASEAN coin, considering the diverse economic landscapes and also regulatory environments of member states?
Good morning, Najib. Thank you for having me. So I think we are quite early, to be honest. It's quite early because ASEAN is obviously a very, very big region. And, I think if you look into how the current experimental stages, most of the countries or several of the countries, we are currently in the experimental stages of launching their own central bank digital currency. So for example, Malaysia, we have our own experiments into central bank digital currency. Other countries, for example, Thailand, Singapore, and so on. So to actually unify everyone together and make like a single coin, that will definitely take a lot of time and discussion. I think maybe some of the challenges are different countries ready to, come together as a uniform kind of currency? So it's not going to be a very straightforward process, but maybe one template that has been discussed in the past. If you remember a couple of years ago, Facebook, a team from Facebook, they were coming up with a template for a digital currency, and they were intending to peg it to a basket of currency. So maybe if we want to do something similar for ASEAN, we could peg it to a series of a basket of currencies in the ASEAN region.
And also, Aaron, could you provide examples of any collaborative initiatives within ASEAN that Luno is involved in to advance digital currency and also blockchain adoption?
Yeah, at the moment we are very focused giving access to our customers, whether that's institutional or that's retail customers. We're focused on giving access to decentralized cryptos, so the common names like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and so on. So we're not at the stage yet where we are, at an ASEAN level trying to move it together. However, we do have regular discussions with regulators, government regulators from several countries in the region.
And Aaron, let's talk about the regulations, because regulation at the end of the day remains one of the biggest hurdles for crypto adoption in ASEAN. With countries like Singapore leading the way with clear frameworks and also others, while other countries being more hesitant in that sense. What do you think is the key to create a unified regulatory approach across the region?
Ultimately, I think it boils down to comfort and awareness. So it's very encouraging to hear like our Prime Minister saying that Malaysia, we want to be leaders. We want to move forward with things like blockchain and cryptocurrency. Because if you look back, actually a couple of years ago, Malaysia used to be a pioneer. Back in 2019, we were a pioneer in crypto regulations. We were the first, if not one of the first countries in ASEAN or Asia to actually come up with crypto regulations. So I think across ASEAN, if we look at it, before we get a unified approach, every government, every regulator, they themselves need to get comfortable with the technology and so on. So there are challenges. I mean, a lot of people still are talking about, is crypto being used for bad purposes? There are concerns around anti-money laundering and things like that. But I think if there's a lot of engagement, discussion between industry players, regulators, and also technology companies, then I think we will be able to make good progress here.
We'll talk about the security aspect later, but do you believe that the region-wide regulatory framework could benefit crypto exchanges operating in ASEAN, and would it create more complexity in that sense, and what are the potential pros and also cons?
I believe that we will move to a little bit more of a harmonization between countries. So if you look at it today, the regulation in each country is actually quite different. So in Malaysia, slightly different from Indonesia, different from Australia, and so on. So I think that's normal because we are at the beginning stages of cryptocurrency regulations. It's only been around for, say, 15 years. The technology has been around for 15 years. However, I think the few areas that we should harmonize, or maybe we could work together in the first instance, would be things like, for example, anti-money laundering kind of regulations, counter-terrorism financing kind of regulations. And if you look at some of the other regions, for example, in the EU, they have a model called MiCA, which is their own set of regulations, where all the countries that are intending to regulate crypto, they follow a set of principles, but then they also allow a little bit of freedom for each country to do their own, to do their own twist on the regulations.
Aaron, of course, ASEAN has been exploring blockchain's role in boosting financial inclusion. Same goes to Malaysia. We've heard about this announcement of blockchain being adapted into the government services, especially in underserved markets for ASEAN in terms of blockchain. Do you see blockchain as the silver bullet for improving financial services in these regions? And are there other significant barriers such as digital literacy and, of course, infrastructure maybe that need to be addressed first?
Yeah, first of all, I am a huge proponent of blockchain technology. I'm a huge proponent of digital assets and so on. But I don't think it's accurate to label them as a silver bullet. It's a technological tool that's very marvelous, that's very amazing. But to use it as a silver bullet to solve all our financial inclusion problems, I actually don't think that's where it will be headed. Now, if we just look at the example of Malaysia, Malaysia has actually been a very, very good example of getting financial services to people all around Malaysia. So I think the banking, what do you call that? The banking penetration in Malaysia is very, very high. So Bank Negara has actually done a great job here. And they've done it over the last couple of years without actually using things like blockchain or cryptocurrency, right? If you look at Malaysia, we've been using e-wallets, we've been using digital banks and so on. These are all measures to actually bring financial inclusion. So it's not that blockchain is the silver bullet to everything. If we have good policy, we have good current technological solutions, then we can actually make much progress here.
And Aaron, also in your point of view, how will blockchain and also cryptocurrencies reshape the broader ASEAN economic landscape? For instance, in the segment of unbanked community, will it accelerate or slow down the integration, especially when considering both established economies like Singapore and also emerging markets like Myanmar and Laos?
Ultimately, I believe that the more that we have trade, the more that we are able to transact with each other in like faster, cheaper ways, seamless ways. So, that's the promise of blockchain technology, right? Like, are we able to transfer assets? Are we able to make payments and so on in the fastest and cheapest ways? So I think, yes, ultimately, that would be a net positive for the region if we're able to do that. But of course, again, I just want to caveat that saying that it's really, really early, at the moment. There needs to be a lot of discussion, harmonization between countries and so on.
And some, of course, Aaron, some critics argue that blockchain technology, particularly in the form of decentralized finance or DeFi, could challenge traditional financial systems and even create instability in the region. How do you address this concern?
Yeah, I think it's, again, if you look at it in the broader perspective, some people maybe feel that decentralized finance is a threat and so on. Maybe they have have had some negative experiences. Maybe they encountered something not nice in the decentralized world. But actually, I view them as complementary because actually what we are seeing in the decentralized finance world. So, for example, people are being able to make complex financial transactions on the blockchain in very, very quick moments. So you can take a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to do a very complex financial transaction. That perhaps if you use a traditional financial institution, if you use a bank, it might have taken you a couple of working days or so on. So I think actually there's a lot of positives in the DeFi space that can actually give us ideas on how we continue to innovate our current financial system. Now, in terms of the bad actors and so on, every new technology will come with bad actors. Let's not deny that. But I think if you look at it as a percentage, or if you look at it as versus how big the current financial system is, it's actually not that serious at the moment.
And let's talk about the security concerns. Security concerns, of course, often cited as the major barrier for widespread crypto adoption. What measures is Luno taking to address issues like fraud, hacking, and also the risks associated with the DeFi protocols?
Cool. I think we like to pride ourselves on having industry-leading security features. So, for example, we have the two-factor authentication methods for before you authorize any high-risk transactions, you need to use the two-factor authentication. We have a concept of trusted devices. So it's similar to like your banking apps, right? Before you're able to make a payment or so on, you get a push notification to your phone. So that's a highly secure thing. We also have, similar to like the e-wallets or the digital banks, we have kill switch, so you are able to lock your account instantly. And something quite interesting that we do, it's actually not mandated by regulations, but we voluntarily do something that is called proof of reserves. So when you go into your Luno app, you're actually able to get some kind of third-party authentication that the assets you have in your wallet, they're actually there. They have actually been reviewed by a third party. So this is to take away any doubts that, there's actually the company is not holding my assets, it's being held with someone else, or there's some kind of fraud going on. Now, I just want to make a note that with all these security features, right, we cannot stray away from education and awareness, because as of today, I think the big challenge that many people and many crypto companies face today is that people are still being lured away or being scammed by promises of big investment returns. So basically, scammers, they're trying to promise people, send me 10 ringgit worth of Bitcoin and I will give you 100 ringgit in 1 hour. So I think that remains the challenge. We're not going to get around that without a lot of education and awareness. So I just want to send a message to everyone, you have to please be very, very careful to not fall into investment scams.